Are we good? We good? We good? How is everybody doing today? Hello. How
Hi.
are you doing?
Amazing.
Amazing. You amazing or you cool?
I'm
You all right?
amazing. I'm
You
always
amazing
amazing.
with a corner of what? I'm amazing.
I'm amazing. Anytime this heart is beating and I'm breathing, I'm amazing.
I heard
I make
that.
sure I consider that before I answer that question every time.
I hear that. I say all that, but with the lights on and my rent paid, and I say all that still.
Yes.
You understand what I'm
Thank you.
saying? So how you doing, Miss Thing, down there?
Well,
I
thank
said
you.
Miss Thing. I never say that word. What is that about? I never say that.
It comes out.
I
Every time.
know. I know what's up. So we're gonna go. Last time we went to the left, we're gonna go to the right, and we're just gonna say who we are. We're gonna say what we do. You might have warrants. You don't have to say that.
I don't got warrants yet. My name is Chanel, and that's it. That's the T. I'm the Chanel. That's all we need
No
to know.
government name here.
Okay.
None of it.
That's Chanel. I like walks on the beach. I'm an Aquarius.
I am an
and
Aquarius.
I know you're
Ooh, my
gone.
birthday. My birthday is this week. This what is it? What is it gonna be this Friday? I think.
What day?
Today's the
Thursday.
30th.
This Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, this coming Thursday. is my
What you doing to
birthday.
celebrate yourself?
I'm gonna do nothing.
What?
Nothing. That's how I celebrate myself. I do nothing. I chill. I'm gonna be working that day, so just go home and rest. But on that weekend, I'm going to.
You going to see the
I
Tupac
am going to
exhibit,
see
huh?
the. Yes, I
Me
I
am.
remember
too.
that.
I can't wait to see that.
Yes, me neither.
I gotta go.
Oh my goodness, I'm so
It's gonna be
excited.
nice.
That's a
It's gonna
must.
be nice. Okay, well, welcome. Good to have you here once again. Over to the right, who do we have? Introduce yourself, Mama.
My name is Taisha. Everyone calls me Ty. Um, I am a professional hairstylist and I am a mindset coach. Um,
Tell me about
that's about it.
mindset coaching. Tell me about that.
I am a mindset coach and a mindset trainer along with my husband. We do a lot of spiritual healing,
Gotcha.
when it comes to just ourselves, deep rooted issues that we all have. And,
Absolutely.
just bringing them to the forefront so that we can put them out there, get them clear, recognize them, be aware of them, and become the best versions of ourselves.
I
We just
got
help people
that.
do that. And we co host a show together on Clubhouse Monday through Friday called The Power of Love. Tap in because it's amazing. It's a gratitude show. Um, Monday through Friday. And yeah, we'll be there.
Okay. Good. What kind of reception are you guys getting? Fairly good.
Very good reception. Yes. More than what we ever imagined. I'm very proud. So happy that we did it.
So, if you had to say the majority of the people, excuse me, that kind of contact you guys and come on, what does that look like? Or do they have an issue they're trying to get past, or what?
No, actually, everybody's on the same wavelength as us. Like, we're actually attracting people who are like us, and that's what I love about that show. That show is about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's people who are just on that same path of
I
just
got
learning
you.
themselves, and we just pour into each other on that show. We do so much. It's
I
a
got
beautiful
you.
space.
Yeah, well, that's why we always here. We always here to try to learn more
Yeah.
about each other. So I'm glad to have you guys here. Tap in. I'm glad you're here. And to your, I gotta count my fingers. Your left. Who are you, my darling dear?
My name is Gwethelyn Walker, and I am a social worker.
Okay. It got to be something else about you up and through there.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
and a grandmother.
The new grandmother.
Yes.
And she's an Aries.
Pisces.
Well, well, well.
5 minutes from being an Aries.
Well,
5 minutes.
I know you
Oh.
now. You more of an Aries.
Boy, emotionally, I'm a Pisces. I want to heal the world and coddle them in my arms. And you talk about healing and being there for people. That is my thing.
Yes.
That is my thing.
I got you. So if you can create what that looks like, if, for example, I always say that if we didn't have the obligation to have to earn an income, like what would that look like to you in its best form?
Oh my goodness, I would have a nonprofit.
Okay,
And
possible.
I would anybody who had an issue wherever I would see a need,
Mm-hmm.
I would have different layers of my nonprofit that would take care of that. Like people who need down payment to get a house, we're gonna have somebody to take care of that for you.
Got you.
Somebody who needs socks, we're gonna have that department. It's like whatever. Someone who unfortunately may be going through, you know, illness and need help with the medical bill, we would have a department for that. Like in
I
my
got
mind,
you.
that's why I said the devil won't let me win the lottery. Because if I did, I would do so much good.
For sure.
I have a feeling I'll be bigger than Bezos. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Okay. All
Just
right.
charitable things,
Yeah.
because I don't believe money can make you happy. I think money enhances your life, but it is not a god,
Yeah. Sometimes
Thank you.
money is
a devil.
yeah. Sometimes money is interesting. And what's funny is, and it's gonna get routed to what we talk about in some form today, but I was thinking about what's funny, I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I was looking at some old paper and I saw little Kim in there. And I was like, she used to be so cute.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at when we talk about self and we talk about all these things and what you think of yourself and mess around and have the money to show and to fix everything that you think is wrong with you. You understand what I mean? And you go back and you have that money, in the sense you're talking about, money can bring you happiness and money can enhance, but sometimes money it might be a weapon in the hands of somebody that may not need it. You understand what I mean? I hate to go there, but I was
No,
thinking about that. You know what I'm saying?
I was waiting for you to say insecure has self hate. Because I think sometimes when you think that there is actually something wrong with you, unless there is an actual diagnosis of body dysmorphia,
Hmm.
that's self hate.
Okay, so let me ask you, if you could change something about yourself, what would it be?
Nothing. Every
Okay.
experience I've ever had has made me who I am today. Some of them were hard, and I guess if you really want to know the truth, what I would change, the duration of time that I went through it.
Got you.
That's
Mhm.
it.
For sure.
That's a good one.
Taisha, if you could change something about yourself, what would you change?
I don't think I'll be just like her. I don't think nothing. What I would do though is get rid of all of these attachments that had made me feel like I'm not enough. Like,
Okay. Okay, I
So
want you to go there. What do you mean attachments?
so sometimes we could just have things that are attached. It's not us. It's not us because we are pure beings, actually. We really are. It's the
Preach.
things that this world has attached to us
Okay.
that makes us um just not the happiest with ourselves. So I feel
understand.
like if I can just shed those things, and that's what I'm working on, just shedding, just so that I can be who I am called to be in, in my
I
fullest.
got you.
That's just what I'm about. So
I
it's
got
not that I
you.
want to change me because I know that I am. I am enough. I am all that I need to be. I came here with all that I needed.
I got
Um,
you.
but to shed the things that I don't like about myself in my mental, just things that it could be
Mhm.
attitude, it could be, just little stuff like that. Those
I
are the
got
things
you.
that I would change just to just be able to present my best self.
I understand. I appreciate it. What
So
would you change about yourself?
I wish I could have like the same enlightenment.
Mhm.
It's a hey,
Yeah,
trust me, it's a lot of working on self to be able
right.
to get to that.
Mhm.
Exactly. I can say I had a list of the things I would change about myself. I still have. I made a list back in middle school of all the
Okay.
things, the physical things that I would change about myself. And it's about things that I guess people told me that were not pretty.
Mhm.
So, and unfortunately, I stuck with that until my adulthood. So there were a lot of things that
Mm.
I changed that I would change. Not a lot of things, I won't say that, but there are some things I would change physically
I
and
told you you're
mentally.
beautiful. You already know that.
And
Mhm.
I thank you so much for that. I feel like I am a beautiful person inside and out, but it's always something about like I think we're all our own best or worst critic actually. So we look in the mirror and we see like, oh, that's not good, that's not good. And plus, like we're in the age of social media where you see everybody is
Oh
this,
man.
and I don't want to turn into that because it's starting to look everybody's starting to look like
Everybody
cartoons.
the
looks
same
The
alike.
thing.
Oh,
same,
Yeah.
I
right?
was just saying cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Well,
they starting to look
So
alike
well,
too.
Replicas.
based
exactly.
on based on some research that I was doing, because I also write books. You say about myself, I don't really think about it until something comes up.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I always think about is we as Black women, all the things they tell us that we should be, and they're all negative.
Right.
So when I hear you say that, I deeply understand what you're saying about your little list. But throw it away, Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
Got you.
Because at the end of the day, those were all lies.
Right.
Exactly.
I hear you.
Because you sit
Attachments.
here,
I
I
got
always
you.
think about, when I guess it was Kim Kardashian who went to some event She had box braids and hoop earrings and blue fingernails. They said she was trendy.
Yes.
She talked about
But
that
I
last time.
remember when I would go to work, I had blue fingernails and I had box.
Yeah.
It wasn't even box braids; they were individual braids at the time.
Right.
And they told me I looked ghetto.
Yeah.
And they asked me to take the braids out. Now that is also a kind of a testament to how old I am at this time, because now they won't say that. They can't.
Right.
They cannot say it.
It's kind of
But
an
I-
attachment.
Yes.
We were talking like Tanisha
Right.
was saying.
Can I
So
just make a comment real quick? Ma'am,
Yep.
you said that you didn't have much else to talk about yourself, but you just said you're an author. You should.
I know.
You
author.
skipped over that part at the
Exactly.
beginning.
Social
Of,
worker, author. You know, she make cookies. She sell dope.
But-
She do all
all
that.
that.
You know, roll her own blunts in like 2 seconds flat.
Right.
She
own?
shit. Hey, her own.
Of the good, good.
You know what I
Man,
mean?
I feel like we kind of like skipped over a bit, and you
did.
cut off a whole section of your life that you could have plugged on this podcast. It's a shameless plug.
I
Well,
got
you
nothing
know
to
what it
sneeze at.
is. It's those aren't actually the qualities that I want to be remembered for, or redeemed for. The thing I want to be redeemed for is being a great friend. The things I want to be redeemed for is making sure that when I'm around people who look like me, that I smile and I say hello and I create a sisterhood. Those are more important things than just being an author, because you may not read the book that I wrote,
Mm.
but if I exhibit those traits, maybe it'll rub off on you and rub off on you. But I already know it rubbed off on you.
No, I
'Cause I've been
came, I
her friend
came
since
in here
12.
like this.
You know.
But no, I got you. I mean, if I had to change something about me, you know, we got to get these thighs under control. You understand me? But you know, here's the thing too. When you're talking about attachments, you know, there's a lot on women. You know,
Oh,
how
yeah.
to be. And at a point, like you said, you have to, and that's what I was telling you. You have to get to a point to where you're okay with you. You know when I'll have an issue with me, I'll have an issue with me the day a man walks into a place and they pull out a ruler or a yardstick. That is when I'll have an issue. When they have to drop trowel to show what they're working with, that's when I'll have an issue with me. Other than that, I'm going to walk in there like I'm all right. Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that?
Yes.
Because our external is so huge, and who we are, how we walk, everything we have and everything we are, we can be summed up in one flash of a moment like that. And we're being summed up by people that oftentimes what they carry as being a man, we don't even know what that is. So I'm being trivial, I'm being funny, but at the same time, it burns me up oftentimes when I hear us so hard on us.
Yes.
And our judges are in the position to judge us, and they really shouldn't be. But
Ever.
I'm going to go a step further. I didn't mean to lose you, Fernando, because I'm not asking you to drop what you. You know, we cool, so you don't have to drop me. But
I plead the fifth.
Do you? But do you understand what I'm saying? I think we all should kind of just take each other as we find each other, is not opposed to what you see when you're looking. I remember one time, in particular, I don't know, I was somewhere. I think it was at Little Caesars or something like that. And I walked in there, and this girl had these bomb, knee-high boots on. I was like, "Girl, I like your boots." You know, she turned around, looked me up and down before she said thank you. Like, she had to see where I was coming from before she can even accept the comment. I felt a way about that. But what it leads into is kind of what you talked about, sisterhood. And I asked this question before, and I don't think I got the answer that soothes me. And maybe you guys can answer it in your way. Why are women so hard on each other? Why do we do each other like we do each other? And I know you both know what I mean when I say that. Go ahead.
I think women have a really bad habit of comparing, competing, and copying.
That's usually around the answer. Give me
So
about
instead
a
of
30-second synopsis of what you're talking about.
Okay, so basically, I'm gonna sum it up this way. There's no need for all that. I grew up with a bunch of boys. If he likes you, he likes you. Doesn't matter what I look like. Doesn't matter what I'm bringing to the table. I'm not his type. So women out here compete for men who have a type.
So
And most men have a type.
So you're saying you think that our relationships with each other are affected by the male
Not
aspect.
even just that. That's just one aspect.
Okay.
I was just using that mostly as an example because I grew up with boys.
Mm-hmm.
I had a cousin tell me if you stand us on our head, we're all sisters.
Interesting.
So I mean, I think
Okay.
you batted your eyes.
I'm trying to understand.
No, I'm trying to.
that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah,
Can I say? You said I don't have to watch my language. Right?
No.
No, yeah.
If we were all standing on our heads, all they see is pussy.
Okay.
So we're all
okay.
sisters.
I got you.
Got
Some of
you.
us have some hair, some of us have no hair, some whatever. You
Oh,
know what I'm
finger
saying?
snaps. I got you.
But if
Got
you stand
you.
of us on our head, we're all sisters.
Got
That's
you.
my cousin said that to me.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, it's like sometimes women hate other women for things that you have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
Some women are born with a beautiful figure. Other women work out and get a beautiful figure. My attitude is this. If you have that beautiful figure, whether you were born or you worked out with it, I know where the gym is. Period. I don't have to hate on you. I may come to you, instead of hating on you, I'll come to you and be like, okay, tell me how to get this way. Because I'm at the gym and I'm working out and I'm not seeing the results I want. Some of it is, and also some of it's genetic. Everybody's not going to be a 32, 24, 36. That's not going to happen. Everybody can't be a size 2. That's not going to happen.
Okay, so do you think most of the issue comes from the physical? Because I wonder, and I wonder when you have maybe you may have acquired something that another woman hasn't acquired, or you may be able to like travel, or you may be in a certain position in your life. Whereas you may see a man and say, "Oh, you know what? Good for him. He's worked a lot for it," and you see a woman be like,
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? Why are you know what? I'm going to give you a quick. I have a couple of stories, but I'm gonna give you a quick story on on how women kind of do each other, and you tell me what you think about this. So I have a couple. I'm trying to decide which one I want to tell you. So really quickly, I remember I dated this guy. This was college age, very young. I met this guy. I think we went out once. Met him. We went to dinner. Right. So that's when you gave your number on paper. Remember paper?
Yes.
You understand what I mean? It had to write, had to find a pen, and wasn't gonna see him no more. There was no social media to go look up a friend, to look up a friend. It was paper.
You lost that number. It was a wrap.
Man, it was it. You try to go to that same place the same time you saw them the next week.
That sounds horrible. I'm glad I didn't grow up then.
Oh man, look here.
Yes.
Are you?
No, the
Hey.
ageism.
You just
Wow.
you had to shoot your shot,
That just
Fernando.
made
You
me
had to shoot
extra
it.
old then, because I
Yeah.
remember them days.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, what had happened was, so we went. I was like, I wasn't really feeling them like that. Probably a week or two goes down the line, I get a phone call from a woman that says, "Oh, I found your number." You know how that goes. I found your number in my guys,
Right.
whatever. Oh, well, I just want to know what's going on, and I'm very honest
Upfront.
up front, and I said, well, you know what, he did meet me. He didn't say he had anyone, and we went out like, nothing went down. We went out for dinner, but that was it. She's like, oh, cause I'm expecting, and he lives with me and my mom, and I'm just want to make sure, I think he has been stepping out and this and this and that. And I said, well, like I said, we went out to dinner. It was, you know, he is out there apparently because he asked for my number. So, she's like, well, thank you. So, okay, bye. I'm thinking it's over. I told her everything she wanted to know, and that's it. Here we go, maybe a month and a half later. I get a phone call from a different woman. I'm like, hello. Hi, I just want to know, do you know same cat?
Wow.
And I said, yeah, I did meet him. Yeah. Well, I want to, he's my husband, and I just, a friend that he's living with told me that she found your number in his pocket and thought I should find out what's going on. I said, okay, give me that again. The friend.
I was a little bit lost too.
Yeah.
So let me sum it up for you. After I talked to her for a while, let me sum it up for you. He was in the Navy. You know how the Navy, and I think he's or Pendleton or something like that, right? So the woman he was staying with, it was a family friend. It was in Long Beach. Her and her family. And the woman that I talked to the second time was actually his wife.
Mm.
She was in the service too, but she was stationed in North Carolina. So with the first one is messing with him, but the wife doesn't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's obvious to me.
So
Ugly.
she didn't believe me, so she decided to put the wife on me. The wife didn't know that she was pregnant with his child. I told her.
Mm.
So I'm listening to all this. I'm like, wait a minute. Is he staying with someone? And she said, yes, a family friend. I know her. And I said, family friend. So I said, do you know that I said, is she pregnant? She said, yeah. Yeah. And I said, who is she pregnant by? Do you know? And she said, what you mean? I said, well, she told me, dude, your husband was her guy.
Mhm.
And she called me. I said, she called me about a month ago. How do you do that? So do you understand? Do
Wow.
you understand what that looks like?
Yeah.
I
Friend of
do.
the, you get me?
I do.
I
That's a
was
deep
stuck.
story right
But
there.
then again, I mean, it's
Got
still,
herself caught.
yeah, but it still boils down to the same thing. It's still competition. You're still comparing. You're still copying. And I mean, that covers a multitude of things. There's jealousy in there's insecurity in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
No, I got you. Taisha was about to say
I
something.
was gonna say, man, that for one, this is bigger than just a one single answer.
Yeah.
Man,
Mhm.
this comes from lack of happiness from within,
Mm-hmm.
all
All
kind
that.
of insecurities. Don't know how they grew up, what they experienced in their childhoods,
Mhm.
and things that we. That's why I said, man, it's so important that we learn these attachments that we've taken on to ourselves. Because once you learn them, you'll start to see that that's not me. I
Mhm.
just accepted those things.
Yeah.
I feel like I gotta look at her like that. I feel like I gotta do that because this is what
Is
people do.
expected of
Right.
me.
Like, and this is what I'm saying. We got to get back. This is why it all comes back to who are you?
Yeah.
Who
Mhm.
are you?
Mhm.
And I'm just so serious about that because just learning all of these things, I'm starting to see that, man, we becoming like everyone else, thinking that we have to do these things because this is what the world is doing.
I
We
got
have to
you.
be like this, and that don't even really be your spirit. Like, you don't even really,
Exactly.
you know,
How in tune? So you know what? And I'm glad you brought that up. How in tune are you with your spirit? Like, for example, I don't want to get into specific religion unless you
oh, no,
guys
no, no.
want to,
no.
but
Yeah.
it's not anything you have to do. But how does your belief system help you maneuver through here? I mean, do you understand what I mean? Do you? Because sometimes I think maybe that's what's happening. Where's the
Mhm.
grounding
Yeah, the
in everybody?
foundation, man.
I think that's a difficult question to answer, not
Okay.
for anybody probably in this room,
Okay.
but because of where I work at, sometimes people are raised in very religious households and they
Mhm.
still don't know good from bad, right from wrong. When you were talking about the situation with you, some people feel the need, like, depending on how they grew up,
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
feel the need to do this because that's what they seen this is normal for them.
Okay.
It's the same thing, and I hate to say this, but it's kind of the same thing when I have a case and the little girl is being harmed by someone in her family, and I say, well, why didn't you tell someone? She said, well, it happens in my family all the time.
Mhm.
So, and these people have a spiritual center, so they
Right.
say, So I don't even know. I think it's more what Taisha said. It's about you being grounded with you, because
Okay.
sometimes if you don't know and you have children, how are you going to explain to your children? So now
Mm.
you're having all these years of this repetitive maladaptive behavior.
Okay.
So that's why, like, had you asked me 15 years ago what would I change about myself, I probably would have had a laundry list.
Right.
So now I'm an older woman, a mature woman. I'm recently a grandmother, and I look at all the goodness.
Mhm.
Have I fallen down? I've fallen down many times, but I keep getting back up
That's what's up.
because I know who I am and what I'm made of.
Mhm.
And so that's the thing that I think that as women, especially Black women, I mean, I think there's also, when we talk about insecurity and jealousy, there's also this whole other thing that we have no control of, which is everybody who's not Black.
Mhm.
They only want to let so many in. So we're
Right.
kind of clamoring for positions,
Right.
and and we'll we will harm each other because we want to be accepted by these people who
That's
really
something.
don't want to be accepted.
Yeah, that's something that keeps coming up. You know
So
what?
it's a
No
lot of
matter,
different things, you
right,
know.
and not to cut you off, but no matter how specific, not how general we like to be about, being women and being in these situations, the dynamic of being black always comes back to it.
Yeah.
I think that,
Miss Auntie, where we live?
I mean, yes, you're right.
How did we get here? They never talk about what we were doing before slavery.
That's true.
They never say, y'all had a whole nother life, huh? We tricked y'all and offered you a cruise, and you got on this cruise and ended up in these chains. They don't say that.
Yeah.
They keep the lie going.
Yeah.
And because of those lies, if you don't take control of your mental health, and I'm gonna say it like that, and what you subscribe to and what you believe, because see, when I do my research, I know this is true, but I know they trying to sell us this.
Right.
And I think that is the issue. More, a lot of us, I see it when I look at social media. A lot of black women talk really bad about black males. A
Right.
lot of black women talk bad about other black women. They say, "Well, if I got a job, how come you can't get a job?" You don't know what they're going through.
Right.
That's just true.
Absolutely.
They could have knocked that 500 doors and got a no. But instead of encouraging them to move forward, you want to put them down.
I mean, judgment is a ugly, powerful monster. It can move. You can see the effects of judgment, and you think about how much could you have moved with a positive trait rather than the judgment trait. You've seen people get homes because she has one, I have to get one, as opposed to this has been something that I've longed for. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So when you talk about, do you think, okay, everybody has their chips? Okay, so I always say the blue is for the affirmative. That's the yes. And this one is for no. Be honest. Do you feel like, since we've come to this one thing of black women, do you feel like, are black women more judgmental than anyone else in your experience? Are black women more judgmental or not? Yes or no?
You said this is a yes.
Mm-hmm. You say you're gonna say yeah. Why do you say that?
Again, because of just where we come from,
Okay.
again, and at the same time, it's like we're the most beautiful. Like our hearts are really good because we truly do love. But again, we're trying to fight through this thing, trying to
Mm-hmm.
be seen, trying to be noticed, trying to be heard.
Okay.
Just trying to be,
Right.
and always getting pushed down. So it's like, yeah, we sometimes we could be more. I see us complain a lot more than other.
So the oppressed becomes the oppressor in a sense.
Yeah, it's like that's why I said it's so important that we get to this healing because without that, man, it's just you're gonna always feel that,
I got you.
like you got to be trying hard.
I feeling you coming with something, Chanel.
No, I can't actually make a confirmation to that. I don't know.
Okay.
I know us to be the most judgmental.
Okay.
In your
I don't know.
experience,
In
not
my
just
experience, yeah, no.
no.
Okay.
Okay.
Honestly, no. I can't.
What about in your experience?
I'm kind of torn as well, and I'm going to tell you why. Historically, I think that we have been hard on one another
Mm-hmm.
in order to ensure survival.
Yeah.
But on the
Okay.
flip side of that, I think we get judged the most. Like out of all women,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Because we don't fit.
I,
We
I,
we
I want to
we
share something
never
really
fit.
quick. This
Yeah.
is what
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying. So in one of my long-term relationships, I was a victim of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget when the officer came to the door and I was telling him what happened. I had wounds in which I was bleeding. And he said, "Well, you are a big woman."
Mm.
So not only did I get judged for being a black woman, I got judged for being a tall woman, as if those two things equated to the fact that it was okay to harm me.
Wow.
But I think more so mentally, um, before women and children were property.
Mhm.
So I think that was a part of it, and maybe his own upbringing, because he was not a man of color. Well,
Mhm.
now everybody's a person of color, but prior to that
Yeah.
label, he was not a man of color. So, and he was short.
Mhm.
So I was like towering over him.
Mhm.
And he actually had no empathy.
Wow.
And so his partner is the one was like, "Did you miss something? She's still a woman."
Wow.
And he sent him to talk to the person who harmed me, and he came to talk to me. And I went to the night watchman or commander, whatever they're called.
Mhm.
And I made a formal complaint because I thought that was like that. If I wasn't careful,
Mhm.
that could have destroyed me, and that could have made me think that as a woman, and especially being a black woman, that I deserve to be harmed.
So, and thank you for sharing that. I think about when you say that, I think about what was her name? Gabby, the YouTuber.
Gabby
Mhm.
Pepito.
Yeah, that the guy, her boyfriend,
Mhm.
I even only like to say the word, but you know, he and the young lady recently that worked in the furniture
Furniture
place
store. Yeah.
downstairs. I mean downstairs, downtown.
Yeah.
And they found that guy. But the young lady that they found by the 110 freeway,
On the
that was
on ramp.
16,
Yeah.
they're having to beg to get reward money to get some feedback coming in to save or solve the case rather, because they have no clue what may have happened to her. So that's a form of contention right now.
Mhm.
It's so do you find that, I know that that's kind of sounds like you find that to be true, you become scaled, like for example, on the scale of importance, where do you fall in solving this or to or rectifying this crime or whatever it is? It's kind of like the victim, the value of the victim is the I don't want to say the barometer, but the value of the victim is that we're going to base that on how we go after
Mhm.
this case and after that person, because I would think, and I don't think it's right to do anybody like that, and we're all women, and to do
Right.
that with women. But if you looked differently, Hattie would even introduce your size. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But you know, I think that that's a disservice to us, and I think that if part of what you're talking about, you know, the lineage and the things of that nature that has happened to us, you know, over the years, we have to take the reins in how we move
Mhm.
and what we teach each other and in our value. And unfortunately, this is just in my opinion, sometimes we're still looking for validation. We're looking for validation from the wrong side. We don't look for validation from ourselves. You know, I joke about how everybody shows up to the Grammys, but hardly anybody shows up to the Image Awards. You understand what I'm saying? It's we don't value ourselves in a sense, and until we do, you know, we're going to find ourselves in this place. But I'll always go back to the center. So inside and then outer. So we got to go self,
Absolutely.
family,
Yes.
global.
Mhm.
So you have to start with self. What you're
Yes.
talking about. So I have to know myself to teach my children self, and then the child, you know, the family self, and then the community self, and then the culture
Absolutely.
self.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
when I think about that, I completely get you. I completely get you, and I completely get your feelings. I think, and back to women judging each other more. I think everybody is harder, and this is just me.
Mhm.
I think everybody is harder on their demographic.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So I think that maybe Latino women are harder on Latino women.
Mhm.
Maybe you know, you understand what I'm
And that's
saying? Maybe
what I was.
I think I think each dynamic is harder on their dynamic. They expect more from their dynamic.
I don't. I agree with that, but I do think there's a little subculture in there, like
Mhm.
people, like other women who have married black men.
Mhm.
I often hear them say, "Well, he don't like black women," and I always say, "Well, what his mama blood?" Because that's how he got here.
Right.
So sometimes they judge us more harshly due to the insecurity of being married to someone who looks more like me than
And
looks like him.
you're right.
So there is that other piece in there, but I wanted to, as you used the word validate,
Okay.
I want to validate something you said.
Uh-huh.
You talked about the women being killed.
Yes.
That speaks volumes when it comes down to the disproportionality that we suffer.
Mhm.
You know, it's there. You want to talk facts? Let's just pull up statistics.
Right.
Okay, you don't want to talk race, but we can talk facts.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, that's one.
Right.
And then the other thing that you said guys all said, you started it off, Taisha. You verified it, and then you brought up a different point.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know thyself, because as long as they keep us confused and divided, we will stay conquered.
You're right.
So until we all
Absolutely.
come together, there will be no changes. So it don't matter that you march, it don't matter that you riot.
Mm-hmm.
You just made a bunch of noise. Until you sit down and say, let me get them in their pocketbooks, let me vote them out of office, let me hit them how they're trying to hit me, and we move strategically, nothing's going to change.
I got you.
I think the reason as to why I'm going back to black women being more judgmental to ourselves. I think like if we said like if this room was filled with just black women, even today, like we're nodding our heads at each because we live we have a shared experience. We don't
Right.
walk the same ground every day, but we all have that shared experience. So that's why when I see like when we're around each other, it's like we just have this like collective, like we just know, you know what I mean? Especially if we're in white spaces. I see that all the time at work. Like who comes to me about promotions? It was black women. Like Chanel, you need to. This is open. You need to get like you know what I mean. So that's why I said like we're not. I think we know. You know what I mean? Like what we all experience the roads that we have to walk in this life. So that's why it's hard for me to see us as being judgmental when I've only seen like
love
from us. You know
and
what I mean?
nurturing.
Right, exactly. Nurturing. That's us basically.
And you know what? I'm glad that that's what what your
Yes.
experience is. I think it's beautiful that has been your experience. I don't want the experiences that I have, and then when that happens, I have to check myself and say, how do you respond? So, for example, if I go somewhere and I try this and like if I go to a public government office, or if I go a place and I'm gonna be at a DMV and a sister's working and she come up and I get the "May I help you?" and I'm looking at her forehead. I never see her, and it's okay. You need to go to room C and this and this and that. And I and there might be a coarseness and something like that in a way. You'd be like, well, I'm gonna speak back to her the way she's speaking to me. She ain't gotta speak to me, but I don't do. Well, you know what I do and what I generally do. I'd be like, it's packed in here. How's your day? I said, it's a gang. And she'll go, girl.
Exactly.
And it'll just alleviate. And then her and I start to talk. We vibe. I don't turn around and give her what she's giving me back because I get it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, girl, how's your day going? There's a lot of people in here. She go, okay.
Yes.
She said, I'm trying to, my manager is on my, I said, well, whenever you get to me, it's cool. She said, I'm going to look out for you. When it come up, I'll call you. So I said, I'm sitting over here when you're done. Go that route.
Yeah.
It's worth going that route, and you'll have somebody say, I shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't. It ain't about shouldn't have to do it. It's just about that takes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a decision. You know what I'm saying?
But you acknowledged her and the day she's having.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. And because like you said, shared experiences. And I know, and this is another thing that I know that because of who she is, that's gonna be the reason why in other people's minds she's acting the way she's acting. She might have the world on her shoulders, and I might just say, you know what, I know, you know what, I take a minute. I know it looks like you got a lot going on. She's like, yeah, hold on one second. She be like, you know what, let me go back here and grab this. I'll be right back. And she just appreciates the consideration.
Absolutely.
And then our interaction is all the way complete, and I think it's worth doing it. I do want to get to, because I have a few questions, and I have a few questions because I've been doing the men, and some of them have some of the things I hear, and I just no I just want to present. So we had a really good conversation one time, and one of the men said something about women have a lot of expectation of men, but men really, we don't have an expectation of women. Do you agree?
He also did say about that it's also our fault for setting that expectation.
But what expectation?
Well, he did. Well, he said that men are gonna pull up like in their cleanest clothes, the nicest car they could pull up with, and they're gonna try to show off, and they were like, we set that expectation, but then like we go on date 2, 3, 4, and it's like then you just show up in your hoodie and jeans. So it's like, what's the expectation are you really setting?
Right. And within that example, he essentially said that, you know what, you guys expect the world from us. You expect you expect us to take care of you and feed you, all this other things, but we don't expect anything from you but you to be women. And I want to ask you guys that. What do you think do you think differently than that?
I
It,
definitely do.
okay, what do you think the expectation is for us? And I just kind of want to preface this by saying we're all heterosexual women. That's why I'm asking that. So if I had a different group, I would ask a different question. So I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about the women here.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna start with the foundation. We're never taught that men have feelings.
Yeah, we
Men
talked
have
about.
feelings.
Yeah, we've talked about that, but let's get back on this
So
expectation.
that's what I'm saying about setting the foundation. We have to remember they have feelings. I think, not think. This is what I subscribe to.
Okay.
Yes, there are expectations because there are roles.
What do they expect?
You know, I can't speak in like I can only speak in general terms on
Mhm.
that. But like as a woman, we are taught that the man's role is to be the provider.
Okay, now we're not. I
Protector.
just want to clarify.
Yeah.
We're not talking about them. What we're talking about is what he said is that you guys have an expectation of us, kind of where we're going. He was saying that they have no expectation of us, just be women.
I disagree with that.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
So what
sorry,
I'm
I
asking,
misunderstood.
yeah. So what
Absolutely.
I'm
I
asking
disagree
you
with that.
is, in your opinion, in your just to see it, in your experience, what is the expectation of men from you? What do you think that they expect?
All the things that they don't say.
For throw one out there.
It's like, okay, so I've been in a relationship for the last 8 years and it's really solid. It took a while to get solid, but it was solid. But there were expectations that he did not say.
Like?
So, like, if he comes over and I'm still doing laundry or I'm cooking dinner, he's upset because he feels like when he comes over, my attention I should be free so I can give him all my attention.
Mm.
I'm like, well, you didn't say that, and
Okay.
I got stuff to do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
That is something that is an expectation. You want me to have free time, so then you need to tell me, hey, when I come over, I would
He's a
like
priority. I
exactly.
got you, Chanel.
I think I don't. First of all, just to be, I want to know their definition of what a woman is because it seems to have like a plethora of things. I think so. To be a
Yeah.
woman, but the expectations that I do see is that we have to be put together at all
Okay.
times for
Mhm.
them. I think. I'm just generalizing here. It's several like this. Just certain men, the way they want us to walk about the world, the way they see us, how we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to speak a certain way. We're not supposed to ask too many questions. We're not supposed to. Um,
Supposed to be vegan, Fernando?
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Why do they call me out like that?
I think the role of a woman is that just to be a woman. It sounds like a singular thing, but that is there's a whole laundry list as to what
Right.
they would like us to be.
I got you.
So, and again, I don't know about this expectation that we have on. Well, that probably is, but um, for them to be always put together. I don't know if we, at least for myself, I can only speak for me. I don't
Right.
expect him to be like, I don't expect him to have an expensive car and to be dressed to the nines
Right.
at all times.
Right. So you
Be
think
faithful. Start there.
but you
Ooh,
saying
be
you think
faithful.
that they expect priority, and from you they expect us to come out turnkey ready,
Right.
like all the
At all
time.
times.
Yeah.
Taisha?
I'm really trying to figure out how to answer that question because I don't know how to answer it generally.
I got you.
Because I've been in a relationship for a long time now.
Hmm.
And I know what my husband always tells me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that he always tells me. And it's so funny because I'm starting to hear from other, couples that I be with, and we have this conversation. They say that they just the expectations that they want from us is for us to just be feminine, that feminine energy. And I feel like that's something that me and my husband used to, because I guess I had a masculine energy about me that I wasn't aware of. And he brought that to my attention. That's something that I do work on because I do want to be that feminine energy. I get it. I know that we're in a world where we're taught to be that strong black woman and that, we grow up like that,
right. We talked
and
about
so
that.
it's so hard to beat that down. And I think that's what they're saying about, that's what I'm assuming they're talking about when they're saying, like, we don't have expectations. We just want you guys to be women, like,
That's a good point.
softer.
That's a
Like, you
good
know,
point. I think, and I think I love being feminine. I absolutely
yeah.
love it. I prefer
I have my
that.
rough times. I already know.
I mean, you gotta, you gotta pull the strap out every now and then. But I love the safety of being able to do that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I love like to its most, primal, the most primal. Girl, don't pick that up. Let me get it for you. Can I wear a dress? I can wear a dress. I can put something on my delicate. What do you call it? Here, and I like flowy dresses. You know what I mean? I like that. I want to feel safe to be that.
Mhm.
And oftentimes that doesn't present itself. So I'm that. I'm that in my life, in my home, and but other times it's the survival mode of, and sometimes survival mode has you in that quote unquote masculine role. But
Yes.
I do agree that I think that that's what men and women bring to each other, the
Yeah.
masculine energy and the feminine energy. And I think that we talk about that too, as far as wanting men to be masculine with that balance of being masculine and owning your feelings and having enough compassion or empathy to hear where I'm coming from. It's a hard mix. I
True.
want Go ahead. Yeah.
But doesn't that go back to the traditional roles of men and women?
Probably so.
I mean, we're embedded with that. We're all women in here. Who wasn't taught that you were going to grow up, get married, have a house,
The
a white
fairy
picket
tale.
fence? Yes. We
The
were
fairy
all
tale.
sold that same fairy
And
tale.
you're going into my next question, but I want to answer one question, and we're going to go back into that question. When he said that about expectation, I started thinking about it. I did think about it, Fernando. When he said it, I was like, oh, you guys don't expect anything from us. But then I thought about it. I think they expect forgiveness from us a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I think women are expected to forgive
And be soft.
and be so, oh, he's just a man. That's what they do.
Because that's what grandma said.
Oh, that's okay. He messed up. You're not turnkey ready. That's okay. You know what? I think also they expect us to nurture.
Mm-hmm.
And one day we'll talk about the things that we went through. If you have traumas and things of like nature, but there are some women that may not know how to nurture or be soft. They're in this mode. You know that they're in this mode, and oftentimes you have to say to me as a man, is she worth helping her feel safe to pull those down? And sometimes and you have to be honest. They have to be honest about it, and we have to be honest. I think just for our self satisfaction to get help to bring those down. I don't think it should be dependent on the person that you're with. I think if you're here, you probably shouldn't have a person right now.
I agree.
I think you need to work on getting those hands down and being able to welcome love in and to be able to be vulnerable. And being vulnerable takes a safety.
Yes.
And I think that it's hard to be safe. It's hard for me to be safe if I feel like I'm in a give and take. I kind of just want to be in a space of just energies. It sounds weird and it sounds all, but that is, you know what I'm saying? I don't, cause as me giving, you won't catch up with me. I'm a giver.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
expect you to catch up with me. But it's the energy of just knowing, oh, I know this is appreciated. I appreciate what he does. And it's not a give and take, it's just a exchange of energy.
Yes.
But I think you owe it to yourself to do what it takes to bring those down. And part of it is you can't expect him to do that job for you.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us do. Well, how am I supposed to feel safe if you don't make me feel safe? Now, I do believe if you're in a man's space, that's what men bring to me. In my space, they make me feel secure. They make me feel protected. But at the same time, that type of self-safety you really need to work on. I don't think everybody is in a space to be in a relationship.
Right.
It's just kind of like you say, are you too broke to have a girl? Do you have the money to have a girlfriend? Or do you have the headspace to have a man? Can you put it together? Can you be fruitful? Can you get with, the energy that's trying to be given here? So you just said something. You asked a question. What did you ask me?
is about society's expectation of women to be soft.
You
That's
did.
all. That I just think we're all sold that fairy tale, and I think that's the hardest part because it's so ingrained. It doesn't matter who you are. It's so ingrained.
That's interesting because the man said that we have misconceptions
Hell yeah,
about what love is, and our misconception
it's a fairy
is
tale.
the fairy tale.
Because he did come save me. I
Did,
love that song by Anita Baker.
I love that song, but she's preaching.
She is.
And you go back and listen to that song. You know, Fairy Tales by Anita Baker.
Yes.
It's so telling.
Real
It's very real.
and
You know
raw.
what I mean? And go back and listen to it. But I got the impression that you didn't like that statement when I said that they feel like we have a misconception of what love is, and we're living our expectation is a fairy tale.
I'm sure it is. Like, there's no perfect anybody. There's no like, oh, the white picket fence and there's a little dog and the kids and everything. It ain't no ginger. It's never like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know if do we really ask for that much though as women?
Mm.
You know, I just
I'm going to say no. And let me tell you why I'm going to say no. It depends on the caliber of man you're dating. And let me say this. Because if you're.
Why do you say that? It depends
Because,
on the caliber of man.
because at the end of the day,
Okay.
if you want diamonds, you can't date somebody who don't know how to turn a coal into diamonds. That's a mismatch.
Okay.
That's not compatibility, and it's definitely not suitability.
Okay.
So for someone, if you know, and this goes back to you knowing who you are, if you know this is what you want, then you date that caliber of man who can give it to you.
So you're talking about
So-
being equally yoked.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what were you going to say, Chanel?
I'm sorry, I'm just losing my train of
That's okay.
thought.
You want to
Like
think?
when they expect, can you phrase the question one more time?
They say that I asked the question and I said, what misconception do women have about love? And they said it's the fairy tale for them.
Okay. So yeah, I think we do come into it thinking like, okay, I don't think we're all idealists. I would hope that we don't come into a marriage thinking that everything is going to be everyone, even married people that have been married for several years. Oh, we had to work at this. We had to work at this, and we know that's coming in. But coming into a relationship where you think you're stable in this, we're in a relationship, but like this man might have a whole family on the side type of thing. So that's what I'm concerning myself with. Is that the fairy tale that we're saying? That's my only thing. It's very simple. Is that if you're in a committed relationship with a woman, you know that she believes to be in a committed relationship with you. I believe that's all we really ask for.
What do you? Okay. What does your fairy tale look like? What do you want? What does love look like to you? What do you want?
There's honesty, and there's See that now I feel like I might be going back into the fairy tale aspect. Of
No, if that's what you want, that's what it is. Don't judge it.
Yeah, just honesty and what I'm expecting us to be. I want it to be true. I don't want to like look and I have to peer into your phone and your things and find a napkin with another woman's name on it, or me having to come to the realization of the friend he was living with this whole time has his baby. No, like just I want to be like in a if he did step out of that's one thing, but I just want honesty. I want someone who knows what he wants basically, and like we have as women we're nurturers and we will accept and bring you back.
Do you ever find it's hard to know what you want?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It might be.
What
but
about?
I feel it's just simple, so I don't know if I'm able to really
express it.
Yeah, because it's like who doesn't want just honesty and commitment and someone who is just in it with you. I don't want to feel like I'm 75 here and you're 25 here.
I got
So
Yes, Taisha.
I was just gonna say I think it's better. It's more comfortable for us just listening to you, Chanel, and this is what we do in general as women. A lot of times we don't know what it is we want.
Yeah.
And that's something that you got to sit with yourself first with.
You know what? I appreciate you. Not to cut you off, but I said that. And people didn't appreciate it. I didn't think anybody was going to appreciate it, but I'm glad that I'm not just giving you that because you agree with me, but I
No,
think
that's
we
true.
have to
You
look
do.
at a spade a spade. And then I think that oftentimes what happens affects what we want. Like we I don't know if we get jaded or say, oh shit, can I have honesty?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But it affects what we want. But go ahead, what you were saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of times when we don't know what we want, like when she asked the question, like what do you want? A lot of times we can explain it better by saying what we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm.
again, when you do that, now you're putting your attention on all the things you don't want. And guess what happens when you do that? You're gonna attract the don't wants. So we always want to be clear about what do we want.
Are the men that have been in your life, are they a reflection of you?
Yes, I'm gonna say yes. I haven't been in that many relationships, but
Mhm.
people that I've dated even before my husband, they have been, and I wasn't even aware of me yet like
I
that.
got you.
But being with my husband, we've learned how to come to get to know each other, ourselves,
Through each other. I got you.
a lot better. So what we're doing is learning what it is that we want
Mhm.
and making sure that we make ourselves happy so that we can bring that together. And I know you guys heard Will Smith and Jada speak on that and
Oh,
like different
child.
people. I know they got a lot of stuff going.
See,
But what I'm saying is that's a real thing if you really doing that.
I mean, what one thing that they say a lot that I absolutely agree with, that I can't depend on you to make me happy. That's not my job.
Mhm.
It's up to
That's the
me to
thing
make
that
me happy.
I truly understood because that's
But
something that I
that's
do.
putting a lot on the other person you're with for your happiness.
Mhm.
So, but when you make me unhappy, that's a problem.
Well,
But
to be honest, Will and Jada, they're not real people.
Hey, I agree with you. I was just bringing that up because I know a lot of people do listen to them, but that was one thing that really stuck out for me because that's something that we truly work to do in our relationship. He knows, and he'll tell you the same thing too.
Mhm.
I gotta be happy within myself.
Oh,
Otherwise, I'm
absolutely.
not going.
Yeah, that now it's coming together now. I see it now.
Yes.
Are the men that's been in your life a reflection on you?
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's been many times in my life that I didn't know who I was. So I was dating men who didn't know who they were.
Mhm.
So absolutely.
Absolutely.
Not all men cheat. I want
Nope.
to throw that out there, and that's why I was saying the caliber of the man. If you know what you want, you ain't never gotta check his phone because he don't want to check yours. And that's what I'm saying
True.
about
Yeah.
suitability and compatibility.
Mhm.
You have to have that. There are people there for me. There have been men that wanted to talk to me, but I knew that what I wanted to aspire into in life, he was not going to support it because he didn't see a need for it. Angela will tell you I'm real big on education. I can't date a man who doesn't understand why it's important to me and support that. You know what I'm saying? So we're not coming to a meeting of the mind.
Mhm.
Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I do agree with the so-called argument that it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. But again, when we come back to judgment,
Mhm.
we got to be twice as good, twice as better just to get the interview.
That's true.
So I can't listen to him because that's the blind leading the blind. So you're going to walk into that manhole and you want me to fall in it with you. No. And
So
that's what I'm saying about that. You just got to
yeah.
know what you want.
Well, the wrap, and that's it. The wrap up it, and that's why I asked that question because we don't look at that. We will have someone say, "I keep attracting these." Yeah, you keep attracting them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You're
Right
gonna
word.
you. How do I want to say? And oftentimes here, you can't be responsible for somebody that likes your car. They like the way it look. It's shiny. It's beautiful. It's dope.
Right.
But you're in control of who drives it.
Mhm.
You
Who
get
you
me?
let
You don't.
ride.
People
I'm
can
just
be
saying.
attracted to you all day long,
like
but who do
that.
you entertain?
Right.
Yes.
And that's what it is. So when I look at my life, and you're going to look at your life, and you're going to trust and believe, you get 20 years up, you're going to look back, and I would hope that the men and the people that you've entertained, there's growth, because that means, like, when I look back, the men that I attract now aren't the men that I attracted 20 years ago, because I'm not the woman I was 20 years ago.
Amen.
You know what I mean? I don't, my walk is different.
Yes.
My presence is different. You understand what I mean? And I know it. And that's not, I'm not a conceited person at all. That's not saying anything. That's saying, you know what, I got $4. And back then I had 2 cents. You know what I mean? I feel good.
Mhm.
I feel good and I exude that I feel good. And you can't attract misery when you feel good.
Yes.
Sure can.
When you're uncertain about yourself and you're shaky and and when you're miserable, when you're uncertain, you attract uncertain.
Mhm.
When you're miserable, that's what
Misery
you
loves
attract.
company.
And that's what you entertain.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
broken is broken. We're both here and okay. Well, you cool, then I'm cool. I ain't gotta get on my trauma. I mean, you ain't got. Okay, we cool in this place.
Or your trauma bonding.
Yeah, and then when you grow, it becomes you become a different spirit. Your glow is different, and then at that point that doesn't suit you, right? So dang, I appreciate
I
that.
love that.
Yeah.
I
So
like how you
wanna
just
say
said
two
that.
things.
Yes, ma'am.
2 halves only make a whole in math, people. You gotta be whole when you step to someone they need to be whole.
Yes.
Second thing is because I've known you almost all my life, you didn't sound conceited. You sounded confident.
Yes.
And it was sexy, girl.
Well, I be trying. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna hold this microphone and let
It
y'all
was
know.
sassy. It was